welcome to week 1, night 2, episode 1 of Abe Dance Summerfest Art Talks. And tonight I am here with the emerging choreographer fellows, Kelsi and West Devaney. And let's start by just introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your training, and maybe how you found yourself here with us.
I'm holding the mic.
Yeah.
So I will start.
Good. My
name is West. I am 22 and I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My training is very, very technical. I was put in ballet and modern very young. I went to LaGuardia High School doing Gram every day. And then I went to SUNY Purchase to get my BFA there with a concentration in composition, which was also a very technical, rigorous program, putting most emphasis on modern techniques. But something that made the program really special was how much we were able to compose works. Mm-hmm. We were super lucky to have Doug Verone as our mentor there. And I think he really changed the way that I perceive making works. And how did I find here? Honestly, an ad. And I was like, working. Yeah, I get to make work on people I've never met before and get thrown into a new space. Like, totally, I want that challenge. And I'm here now. Yeah. And I made a piece.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I would say that's it about me. I can pass it.
Good.
Hi, I'm Kelsi. I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up dancing around the age of 12. I started my dance journey. Not super ideal when you think about starting dance, but it was something that I was really passionate about. I started in a public school and we had an after-school program that we do like for 1 hour. And I was so drawn to dance. I was like, why haven't I been doing this all of my life? Yes. And I talked to my mom about it. And so we tried to invest a little bit more into dance. I ended up going to school, pursuing my BFA in dance with a concentration in modern dance. And then from there, I branched out into the world a little bit. I'm currently based in Chicago and I've just been going around to different programs looking for opportunities as an emerging choreographer. That's how I found this program, just doing a bunch of research and seeing where I could go.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for your diligence. Yeah, I think you probably had to dig hard to find little Beaumont, Texas.
No.
Well, we are super glad to have you here. And just to talk a little bit about what the Emerging Choreographer Fellowship includes is we do have our AIM Dance company here. And both Kelsi and West have spent approximately 10 hours in the studio with the dancers since Monday. So we had from Monday to Thursday to go from nothing to something. We put lights on it, costumed it Thursday. It premiered last night. What was that experience like for you? I know, West, you had mentioned you don't know these people. These are strangers. I'm stepping into a strange land with strange people, and something magical is going to come of it. So how was that for you?
Super exciting. I believe right now, creating under the emerging artist umbrella, it gives you so much freedom. Mm-hmm. There is really no expectation of what your work should be right now. You can't look up Kelsi and it's just one thing. Yeah. And so it was super exciting to come into the space with that freedom of I can do anything. I can try anything with these dancers. So that was super fun. We worked really hard in the studio. The piece I wanted to make was really physical in dance. I wanted to test how far we could go. What are our limits? How much further can we go with that? And so I think just within the studio and the time that we had, we were able to get to a good place of understanding where we were within our bodies, but also thinking more about what else can I give here? Mm-hmm. And so that was a big emphasis of the work that I wanted to create, and a big emphasis of the piece was just testing our limits and seeing what we think we're capable of and what more we could give. So it was really great within that 10-hour span, really testing ourselves of, what do I think I can give right now?
Yeah.
For me, it felt like a huge whirlwind. Like, I have never been to Texas, and so not only am I experiencing like getting thrown into this space, but also meeting this group of dancers for the first time and understanding the dynamic and understanding like the culture shock of I'm from Brooklyn and now I am in Beaumont, and it all kind of hit me at once. But I think it was really special to be forced to make so quickly on dancers that I didn't know. To like talk about the work a little bit, I really wanted to study world building, and I think what makes world building so special and necessary is that it has to be done on the individual, on the dancer, and I have to get to know that artist for who they are for them to be able to fit into the world that I'm trying to build. And so I thought it was really sweet the way I was able to get to know them so well and understand who they are as people and how their personalities can meet halfway with what I'm trying to make. And it's hard to do that so quickly. That's something, generally speaking, would work better in a longer process. But to force myself to understand who they are so quickly and make sure that they feel comfortable in the space and like also make sure I'm getting my points across was a really awesome challenge that I think I needed to have.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question to that. So creating this world building, and how did you get to know them so fast? Like, were there tools or techniques or processes that you went through with them to find that?
Well, I think something that was the most helpful, honestly, was I joked around with them a lot. I think I kind of was, I said, I think in our first rehearsal that I was like, I'm going to be completely myself right now. And I'm just going to let my guard completely down. And I hope that you guys can do the same thing to get to know me. And I think that helped foster a relationship that they felt comfortable offering themselves. But to create in like world building, I definitely came with a very wide range of devices, and I was able to see what certain dancers were connecting to and what they weren't. And so there was certain times I came in with a set of statements or phrases for them to make a short gesture based off of that, and some people didn't like it and they were not able to connect to that. So then the next day I brought in props into the space and made an obstacle course and told them to start making movement based around these obstacles. And then they said, oh, for some people, they preferred the statements, and other ones were like, oh, when I can actually see it, it made so much more sense to me now. And so then I was able to say, okay, now I get where your brain, how your brain works. And that helped me to understand how like their mannerisms would fit better into this world that we make together.
Yeah. So in watching both of these works, I do get a strong sense of individuality. There's not a lot of unison work. There's not a lot of big chunks of choreography that we see in, well, most often it's most common to see that. And so I guess my question would be centered around the idea of individuality and why. Can you speak to that? Do you want to start,
Sure.
Kelsi?
I love when we're able to create, but I'd say like the human experience on stage. When audience are able to sit there and look on stage and say, I've been through something like that, I think. Or maybe look at the dancers being tired and say, I've been that before. And so within the realm of individuality, we thought a lot about the experiences that we've had ourselves, and they're not all the same. And so we wanted to experiment with that a little bit. How does it look when our bodies are passing in space and we're out of it and we can't do anymore? What does that look like? What does it feel like when I feel like I'm running off of this energy that I need someone else to maybe give me, but they can't give that energy to me? And so we dealt a lot with and took a lot of time to think about what our own experiences were, and we put that into the choreography. And so we just made a collection of bodies passing through space just so the audience could see their own experiences on stage.
I was about to say, isn't that how we spend the majority of our time?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of bodies passing through in space, and if we're lucky, if we're aware enough, we find a moment where we connect, engage, collaborate, Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Sort of similar to Kelsi in regards to the feeling of the human experience, feeling like I can, like, you can look inside something and be like, I think I get it, or like, I think I've been there, and it's just almost surreal, but like, not really. And so I think the idea of the human experience being so many bodies and so many different things happening to so many people at once, definitely I'm really interested in. But to add on to that, I'm very interested in overwhelmingness and like what the limit is for an audience member on when I've just about to reach the point of too much, of too many things going on in ways that feel so simple at the same time. Of maybe it's not because it's the most physical, but it's because the eye is darting of this person's over here doing this thing over and over, and this person's over here. And I think how can like all of those like people, those humans, like collide in this space to create one big surreal-ish world. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. We get to talking and
yeah, and then I'm like,
we're also like, wait, did I actually answer the question?
Yeah.
I think I did. Yes, absolutely. Speaking of the bodies in space, I believe that AIM Dance is quite a unique company in the sense that we're not a full-time company. We are a project-based company, so we're actually not in our bodies all the time. Many of the dancers have full-time jobs as teachers, educators, physical therapists. Some of them are still current students, and being thrown into, very similar to you, being thrown into this experience. They too are being thrown into this experience. They don't know you. Maybe they haven't been engaging in their bodies in a while, and now they're having to engage in their bodies and their brains and their emotions and step into this world. But then also too, there's a little bit of an age difference. The company tends to be older. Right now, the company ranges from, I think, 22 to 32, and you're both in your early 20s. So can you speak a little bit about your interactions with this unique company, if you will, and how you negotiated that? Because sometimes as a young person and you're coming in and you're working with dancers that are older than you, how do you navigate those almost generational gaps? Yeah, you can, or you can pass.
I was definitely nervous.
Yeah.
I really had no idea what I was walking into. Like, I didn't know who they were. But I think that the way I approached it of getting to know them first is what calmed all those nerves. Because it was really nice to know that they were just excited. They were just as excited to meet me and work with me as I was with them, regardless of where we've come from. And as I got to know them more and learn about education and their hobbies and what they do for work, like, it made me want to put them as people in the piece more. And I feel really grateful for having met them and for having how they took me into their world. But I think I was able to quickly put those nerves aside just because of how warm and welcoming they were, regardless of the generational gap. And like, yeah, I feel like I was nervous, and then I was like, no, it's okay. I was meant to be here. You know? Yeah.
Well, that I 100% agree with. You were.
For me, I approached it with, we are all in this room working towards something.
Yeah.
And at any point in time in the room, we were all trying to figure something out. I enjoy choreographing on the spot. So a lot of the time it was me standing there trying to figure out what was next. Or it was the dancers trying to figure out, what did she just give me and how are we going to get back into this? And so it was a lot of that, of us all together just trying to figure it out in one way or another. And so I think that really alleviated the age gap, or what the difference of that could have been, because we were all just trying to figure it out together.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Beautiful. I mean, thank you for approaching that. Thank you for taking on this challenge. Every year I realize that there are more and more challenges and more, like, different levels and complexities that go beyond just the movement itself, but the human dynamics of it. and those conversations and navigating the different spaces and places that we step into. So the works themselves, essentially we create to put a work on stage, right? If the audience doesn't see it, did it actually happen? Does it actually exist, right? So can you talk a little bit about the product itself and how that translates to the audience for you, or what your hope is for our audience?
So for my work, I was inspired by the phrase, just keep swimming, and what that means.
Yeah.
Over and over again, we go through these things just to get to one place. I think about, for me personally, I've had multiple different jobs just so that I could dance. And so it's thinking about doing one thing after the other thing and then doing something else just so I can get to one place. And so we talked about that during our time together and maybe thought a bit about what thing is keeping them running, what thing do they have to get to next to get them to the one place they want to be. And so that was a big motivation for the piece. Just this idea of keeping going, it can't stop. And we worked a lot with partnering and crossing and pathways. And with that, we thought about, if I stop, I'm not going to be able to get that person off the floor because they'll be waiting on me. And so we thought a lot about that and we worked a lot with that idea throughout the piece. And so for the audience, I just want them to see that nonstop motion and maybe see how that might relate to their life. This nonstop thing and this thing that might not be super pretty might relate to all of us.
Yeah.
My work was called Remember How It Fades. It was originally inspired by a slideshow work that I witnessed by Nan Golden, who's a photographer, visual artist. She makes like these slideshows that get put in museums where like it's usually years of photos that she has. And this one was called Memory Lost, and it was a slideshow around her drug addiction. And it, when you watch it, the slides, the photos sometimes don't make any sense. And sometimes it's just, she traveled from Berlin to Boston and New York, and she was bouncing around there. And it kind of, some of the photos are these just pictures of her and her friends. Some are just a table of people eating. Some are her combing her hair. And then the next slide is a pill bottle on the table. And it kind of goes in these like extremes. Some are just like a skyline. But all her photos that she was taking was for the purpose of turning it into a slideshow at the end of the day. And it took many years of collecting images. And when you watch it, I didn't know what it was about before I watched it. And you're kind of confused on like how everything relates to each other until it's 24 minutes long, until you go through all of them. And then you kind of realize that she's like slowly getting more and more addicted to drugs as the photos go on. And then I did tons of research on it. And I was really interested in the concept of like all of these images that don't actually relate to each other until you get to the very end. And so I did my own version of a slideshow on stage, taking from a variety of pieces of art that I've seen and photos that I've seen that we were able to turn into tableaus. But even though the photos were completely unrelated in the order that I put them, they're slowly decaying, is what it is. And I think that, again, I talk about world building all the time, I wanted to create like 15 different worlds that like the audience is here and then they're here and then they're here. And they almost could reach it and then it leaves them right away, right when they were able to figure it out. So I think I kind of wanted the audience to feel slightly taken aback. A little bit confused, but also like so relatable and they don't understand why just yet. And I think that's what I took from the original slideshow that I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, wonderful. Thank you so much for making your way down to Beaumont and for sharing the last week of your life with us, with the company, and now with our audience. We're so thankful that you are here and appreciate all that you have offered to us through the classes and rehearsals. And thank you.
Thank you.